Moje ráno začíná dechovým cvičením. Někdy jdu plavat nebo si pořádně zacvičím. Nemám moc na vybranou. Nejvíc ze všeho se ale soustředím na všechen pohyb potom. Soustředím se na pohyb v kanceláři, v tramvaji, v těch 15 hodinách každého dne, kdy necvičím. Proč? Narodila jsem se s rozštěpem páteře. S touto diagnózou bych podle lékařů neměla chodit. Ale rozchodila jsem to. Musela jsem proto udělat hodně. Velkou roli se hrálo, že jsem díky rodičům vyrůstala s pocitem, že mi nic není, že neexistuje žádný důvod nežít naplno. Vždyť kde je hranice mezi tím, co je možné a co se nemůže podařit? Je to cesta a já se po ní vydala bez pochyb, jestli má smysl tou cestou jít. Za to, že po té cestě doopravdy chodím, vděčím z poloviny tomu, že jsem se naučila vnímat svůj pohyb v těch nejšednějších situacích. Když sedím, zavazuju si tkaničky, jdu do schodu. Přijde čas, kdy my všichni budeme řešit zdraví. Vnímáním každodenních pohybů můžeme tu chvíli oddálit o desítky let. Je to volba a já si vybrala svět, ve kterém nikdy nic nebylo. A vám možná taky nic není.
Really easy to lose the awareness of your body, and you're working, and suddenly you can look like this. Okay? And we are sometimes calling it like that we are coming to work, we are putting our body on the chair, and we are really often just in our heads. And that's totally normal. This is happening almost to everyone. But it's usually in this time when we are working, when the bad body movement stereotypes occurs. And since I believe 1950, the number of sedentary jobs increased by 83%. However, our approach, how we are taking care about our body and about the working environment hasn't changed since then that much. And the results, maybe we can even now share the results. I prepared for you, I will again share the screen to have it more, how to say that, to have more interaction. I prepared a Slido. Okay, so are you in the Slido?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yep.
And I will play you first question, and that's have you ever encountered any specific consequences of a sedentary lifestyle? And you can be even more specific. You can, for example, write if your back is hurting sometimes, or if your, I don't know, whatever is sometimes happening, so even I can afterwards react to it during the webinar. Okay, so we've got, I believe you can also see the results of your colleagues. If not, tell me, I will share that. But we've got there a pain, back pain, slouching, overweight, back and eye strain issue, bad posture, tight hips, stiff, back and shoulder pain. Okay.
Nella, I'm sorry, can you share the QR code again?
Yes, sure. Maybe I will, no, I will not. I wanted to write it to the chat, but it's not happening. So I will share the screen again. Okay. Yeah, so I believe you could see the results, and maybe I will continue and let the screen there for a little while. Well, actually, we've got always so many responses about the musculoskeletal pain, like that my back is hurting, that my neck is hurting, sometimes even also that the metabolism is slowing down. But actually, this is just some signals that the body is giving to you. It's just like some communication between the body and you, but the consequences are much more deeper. The consequences are also the rising number of cancers, diabetes, and also heart attacks. And actually, the increasing number of heart attacks, the American cardiologist, because of that, studied which sport they can recommend as a compensation for a sedentary lifestyle. And that's my another question. So go to the Slido again. And I will play you another question, and that would be, which sport is the best compensation for sedentary lifestyle? So just also right there, what do you think that the research found out? What would they recommend as a compensation? Okay, so I believe you can see that we've got a lot of walking, swimming, yoga, hiking. Awesome, you are full of ideas. Football. Great. Well, thank you for the participation. And okay, I can tell you that they found out that no sport is good as a compensation for a sedentary lifestyle, that none of them can compensate if we are spending the rest of the day sitting. So the key then is to add a small amount of movements even during the day, mostly during the working hours, and sit less. And few tools I'm gonna show you here on today's webinar. So what's gonna be the content? The content, first of all, we will do some exercise, compensatory exercise for sedentary lifestyle. So you know which movements you can add to your daily routine, and then active sitting, and then also something about your workplace, how you can set up your workplace to benefit your body and you, and afterwards how to take some useful minimum to your day-to-day life and make it a habit. So that's about today's webinar, and let's move a little bit so we can start with the compensatory movements. So I will ask you to stand up. Okay. And I will also like to afterwards tell you which movement you can add, where and why. But first of all, I again have some question. And the first one is, who uses right hand at work? Raise your right hand up. For example, clicking the mouse, picking up the phone, that you need your hand. And then who uses left hand at work? Right, put it up. Okay, the purpose of this question was to emphasize that our body is our main working tool. And I believe that you would agree with me. Okay, so now we're gonna already start. Now, keep your hands up and just notice your support of your feet, okay? And now try to sense these 3 points: under your heel, under your big toe, and under your little finger. And now try these 3 points, press together and release. And again together and release. And together and release. Awesome. So time to time, just notice your feet supported, you're stable, and that's gonna be one pole of our body. And the second one would be our head. So imagine that if your head would be a helium balloon and it wants to fly towards the ceiling. So now you're trying to be as high as possible. Awesome. So now we strengthen up our spine and we can start by raising our hands one and another. And me as a right DJ, I will play us also some music. So continue. Imagine that you are on the garden and you want to pick up the highest apple on the tree. Okay. And let's go. This movement you can do, for example, in the morning, stretch your whole body. If the music would be loud, please just tell me, okay? Okay, and now, shoulders down, and you're keeping your hands still up. I will show you from the profile that you have the arm in the parallel, that you can still see them. And you're just, again, trying to go with your head as high as you can, strengthening your spine, trying to breathe deeply. Breathe to your belly and your shoulder, trying to have them as wide as possible. And I just let you to have your arms up for a long time, because nowadays we don't raise them that much, that often. So try to remember, when was the last time you had your arms up like this? Okay, so maybe time to time go back to it, because it's really nicely opening your chest and it's a good compensation for a sedentary job. Okay, now with inhale and with exhale, put your arms down, but on the shoulder level. And now focus on the lower part of your palm, and with this lower part of your palm, just try to be as wide as possible. Push the air away from you. Okay? Nice. And now just add a movement of your finger, if you were playing on the piano or clicking on the mouse. I don't know if you can hear the music, but you can do that with the rhythm of the music. And this is a really good exercise against carpal tunnel syndrome. Now we are stretching our whole arm, but also we are stretching our nervous system. So if you feel any tingling or is it uncomfortable for you, that's totally fine, but nothing's happening, like you're gonna survive. It's just that the muscles and the nerves need some stretch. Okay, and now a little bit more. Try now the movement with the finger, faster and faster. Okay, I hope you can feel that, and now you can relieve and just shake your wrist, get them some relaxation. Awesome. And just put your hands near your body. Just inhale, exhale. And now I will show you an exercise that you can do if your nape is sometimes stiff or sometimes it's hurting. And it's because sometimes when we are under the stress, we have lots to do, a lot of work, we are tending to put our shoulders up. So do that, put them really slowly to your ears, and then just relax them. Is this move? I don't know. And you can use that, for example, anytime if you're on the meeting with your boss, just, I don't know, I need to relax my nape. Okay? Awesome. And few circles with your arms, shoulders. Okay. And now I have some movement for a concentration, for combining both brain hemisphere. And we're gonna start with our right hand. And our right hand will do just the movement up and down. And we will count with each move to 6. I believe you can go directly with me, so come on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Awesome. And now we're gonna do the movement with the left arm, but it's gonna be more difficult. Up, to the middle, and down. Okay, so again, counting 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Awesome. And now we're gonna combine that all together. Right hand is doing just simple up, down, left hand up, middle, down, and counting. Okay, so let's do that together. Exhale, inhale, inhale, exhale. And let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, how was that? I believe I believe you would appreciate.
I thought that was very hard.
Okay, we can try that again, and I will tell you a small trick. Just try to focus on the left hand, the one that has a little bit difficult task, and just forget about the right hand, as it would not exist. Okay? So, inhale, exhale, feet support, head is going up. And let's do that. 3, 2, 1, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, awesome. I believe you can then practice, and next time we're gonna meet, for example, on the dance parquet, we can, you can show me that you were practicing. And the next thing, don't sit. I see you that some of you are sitting. Now we're gonna practice our sitting and standing from the chair, because if you think about that, sitting and standing from the chair is actually something like squatting. So count how many squats you do during the day just when you sit and you stand from the chair. So put your feet under your pelvis, like the pelvis width. Prepare your chair. And now just really, I will not correct you that much because everyone has a different body shape, body type. So the main thing is that the first is just going your ass, your sacrum, and then don't squeeze your belly that much. The opposite, just fill it with air and go really slowly down and sit. And then really slowly up. Again, down and up and down and up and once more and up. So this is just something, if you time to time gonna remember that actually when you standing, sitting, from standing up from the chair, you're squatting, maybe you can focus more, and even from today you've got 5 more squats just because of this. And then when you're gonna type something on your computer, you just can do small circles with your feet, for example. So circles in the ankle, to the other side. Okay, and then you can go up and down with your feet. So this is just something that you can also do during the working time. When you're typing something, you can use, for example, your feet, or put there some massage ball and massage yourself. Okay, awesome. So thank you for joining the, we call it a home office salutation, some movement. I hope you could feel at least something. And now we will go to the other part. And for the other part, I've got, again, a question for you. And the question would be, how many hours per day on average are you sitting? I will put there again Slido and play the question, but just I would like you to be really honest and count everything. Count like that from the time you wake up, the time you're sitting during your breakfast, during lunch, during dinner, during the working hours, and then even during the time that is after work. Maybe you're watching Netflix or playing a video games or something. So really count everything. And I will play a Slido. Okay, I can, okay. So how many hours per day on average are you sitting? And in between, I can play you here. So we will wait for you to tell. Okay, so we've got 10 to 12 hours the most, or 8 to 10. Some responses are also 12 to 13. Some of them are also 14 and more. And the less are 5 to 6, 6 to 8. So the winners are 8 to 12 hours. Awesome. Or awesome. Thank you for the responses. Well, and now I would like to use the example of the normal day. Like every day we've got, all of us, I believe, 24 hours. And in those 24 hours, we've got 8 hours when we are sleeping, or 6 hours, I believe, it depends. But then if you count that, we've got 16 hours at like minimum of the day that we are actually aware and we are living and we are awake. And then if you count that some of you maybe sit for at least 10 or 12 hours, it's the biggest amount of your time actually when you are awake. And this is why we are talking about this topic, because what we do most of the time during the day shapes us. It's about what we are doing day-to-day life, every day, day by day. Our habits is what our body is adapting to and making us better and better. And in this case, we are adapting ourselves to a sitting. But as we found out in the beginning, maybe it's not really functional for our body to adapt to a sitting because of the consequences of the sedentary lifestyle. So now, the main question is, what about that? I have a sedentary job and I need to sit during my working hours, right? So I would now ask you to sit as you're normally sitting. Any type of your favorite sitting position. Okay. And the key actually is to alternate the sitting position as often as possible and trying to stand up from the chair as often as possible. So because of this, I would say that even your creative position, whatever it is, is fine. Keep it. I think it's, if it makes you feel good, then it's all good. But now I would like to show you one more. I call it active way of sitting. And I will show you this, and afterwards I will tell you why I think you should add that to your sitting routine. Okay? So you've got your creative position, and now come and join me to try mine, or the active way. So I will ask you to put your ankle, the best would be under your knees, okay? And feet on the ground, so you've got, again, support, because, yeah, afterwards I will tell you why it's important. So ankles under your knees. Awesome. And now put your hands with your palms up under your butt. Okay. And now just do some circle with your pelvis. Any moves to the front, back, side, circles. And you should feel there your sitting bones. I hope everyone has a sitting bones, that you can feel them. Okay, and now point them right to the chair, right to your palms. So they are in the 90 degrees angle, okay, to your palms or to the chair. And by this, you just found your neutral position of your pelvis, okay? And the sitting bones, we call them sitting bones because we are supposed to sit on them. So now try to put your hands away, but just keep your neutral pelvis position. And that's gonna be one pole of our body. And now the second one would be your head. So again, as we were doing during the home salutation, try to put your head as high as possible, like it would be the helium balloon and you want to fly towards the ceiling. So the length between the pelvis and the head is the biggest that you can make, highest that you can make. And by this, we are straightening our spine. And try to breathe. Don't forget to breathe. Okay, and you can relax. And we're gonna try that once again, but with more details. We're gonna add more details. Okay, so again, feet support. Some movements a la Michael Jackson. Try to find your neutral pelvis position. Head is going up. Okay, and now what about our chest? Because sometimes when we said straightening the spine, some people are doing this, that they're gonna open the chest like high, but we want the opposite. We want this lower ribs to go towards the pelvis, okay? So just try to hold them and put them down, but still here you want to be a little bit like that you got a medal and you want to show it to the world. So you're not scratching even here. Here you're a little bit like showing your chest, but here you're putting your lower lips to the direction to your pelvis. And your nape is relaxed. So you can also try the movement, I don't know, and the shoulders are going down, and they are as wide as possible. So not putting your shoulder blades together, but the shoulders are going to the width. Okay. And again, breathe. And you can also write to the chat if sometimes you're sitting like this, or is this something totally new and you feel so uncomfortable in this. How you feeling about this position? So 2 more breaths. And you can relax. Oof. And then we're gonna try that for a really last time, and I will meanwhile tell you why I think it would be good to add even this sitting position to your sitting routine. So again, feet on the ground, find the neutral pelvis position, head is going up, my nape, my shoulders are relaxed, and the lower ribs are pointing towards the pelvis. I'm not having open, my chest is not open, but it's like this closed. And why? Because what is happening if you're gonna be in this like really different passive position the whole day? Actually here we've got C-shaped spine, and also our diaphragm is not in parallel with our pelvic floor. And what does that actually mean? If your diaphragm is not in parallel with your pelvic floor, you cannot use functionally the diaphragm, and it's not working functionally. So you are not breathing properly, and there's not you are not massaging your organs because of this. And because of that, even the upper breathing stereotypes is happening. Maybe sometimes it's that your nape is hurting because of that, and that maybe also your head can hurt. And this C-shaped spine, there is a really big pressure to the intervertebral disc. And after some time, after a year, 2, 3, maybe 10, the intervertebral disc cutouts can also occur, or some chronic back pain. So this is about the passive position. That's why I showed you this active position where your spine is in the C curve, so you're straightening it so there is not such a pressure to the intervertebral disc. And your diaphragm here is actually parallel with the pelvic floor. That means that if you're gonna breathe, you can breathe really deeply, and you're massaging by this your organs. So even those civilizations, illnesses may not happen to you. Okay, and the nape, because of this, can be also more relaxed. So this is just like the mechanism into your body, what is happening, what is like the consequences of this type of sitting, of that type of sitting, but what it means in the real life. So how to use this sitting. As I told you, I believe that even your creative way of sitting is totally fine and correct, because the variability is the key. So I just showed you this active sitting, and if it's new for you, then add it just, for example, for 8 seconds. Really 8 seconds just to straighten up your spine, and then release. But the key is to add a really small amount, like 8 seconds, 5 seconds, whatever is suitable for you, but as often during the day as possible. And then, for example, even switch, go to the squat, to lotus, whatever sitting position, but just make it creative and change the active and the passive way of sitting. If anyone has also a question during the time I'm talking, or nothing is clear, just let me know and I can try to explain it somehow differently. Okay, with this, I'm gonna come back into that, but the next thing is our ergonomy, our working place. That's because like our body is adapting time to time to the place we are working in, and it's better to set the working place for us to benefit us, our body, than to unnecessarily harm it. Okay, so what is the key principle? I will go step by step the body, what is really sometimes happening from our experience at the offices, what's the most common diagnosis and how you can prevent them. So if we are talking with the employees, sometimes, most of the time, women are saying that their legs are swelling, or they've got veins, vascular skeletal veins. And why is this actually happening? It's happening because even your calf is a muscle, and as any other muscle, it's pumping the blood back to the heart. But if your feet is all the time, especially your heel, somewhere like, you know, that you're sitting, you have your legs all the time somewhere up, or you're crossing them behind the chair, you're just having your heel somewhere in the air, your calf is not relaxed. So the really easy fix to that is to sit time to time with your feet on the ground. Okay, and the next one would be the hip joint. The hip joint, for like a better straightening the spine and to find the better neutral position, and also for a better ankle in the hip joint, is good to have your hip joint higher than the knees. Okay, so if you've got a chair where you can adapt it, then adapt it so you have your hip joint higher than the knee. And then if you're suffering sometimes with the nape, that your nape is hurting, just in your day try to focus if you're where is your keyboard. If your keyboard is far away, and for example sometimes you have here a paper and you're this keyboard hunter, because actually in this position your nape has to work. it's in a constant pressure. And the fix is to put your keyboard a little bit closer to yourself so that you've got your elbows under your shoulder. Because now if you even can touch your nape now should be relaxed. Okay? And the next thing, the most common diagnosis amongst the office workers are the tennis elbow and the carpal tunnel syndrome. The tennis elbow is happening if you, for example, think about that, you're all day typing something, and I believe you can see that, or you can try that on your arm. When you're typing something, your forearm has to work out the whole time. It's like if we would be in the gym together and we would be squatting for 8 hours. It's the same workout for these little muscles. And sometimes they are said enough. And here the tender just got an inflammation, and that's when the tennis elbow happened. So the easy prevention for this is when you're sitting to have elbow a little bit higher than your wrist. Okay, this maybe will be a lot of information, but after the webinar we will send you graphic materials to remind you that, so don't worry, you will have it all. But the really last one is the carpal tunnel syndrome, and that's usually that, I don't know if you know that, but during the day we would do at least, they were counting that, like half kilometers just with the mouse, if you're like working with the mouse. And usually we do that only in the wrist, and that is the problem. So if you're working with the mouse, then try to do the movement from your shoulder, not in the wrist, but all the way from your shoulder. Okay. And I believe that lots of you has to work only and just with your computer, or not computer, laptop. And for that, I prepared also some pictures to show you how you can work with that. Okay. And here we've got some pictures. Here is actually the correct sitting that I just showed you. The main point is really to have the paper sheets behind the computer so your elbows are under the shoulders, so your nape can be relaxed. And also about the monitor, try to have it on the upper third of the monitor. Okay. This is actually what is happening if you have the paper sheet next to you, then the possibility that your curve is even higher than if you would put the paper behind the keyboard. Okay, here is the use of overball, because as I told you, the variability is the key, and overball can be used also to add some variation to your sitting routine. So you've got actually 3 options. You can sit on it from 1/3, and by this you can find the neutral pelvic position much easier. Then you can put it of the area of the lower back. And this is a compensation if your tendency is to arch in the lower back, and then level below the shoulder blades. And this is actually for a better strengthening in the chest area. Okay. And here is actually if you're working with a laptop. Working with a laptop is always a compromise between holding the head and the position of the upper limb. So here is just the tip that I can tell you is the chin tuck. Instead of forward head posture, as if you would be hunting the monitor, just try to tuck your chin. So also your nape is don't have to work that much. And if you're reading something on your notebook, or even if you're working really long hours and you have just notebook, I really recommend you to buy a keyboard and an external keyboard, external mouse. So you can, you know, I have it even with my monitor that I put the books below it, so it's in the optimal height, and so that your monitor is at eye level. Okay, so this is just a recommendation if you're working with a laptop. And also if you're having a laptop, this is some tip what you can make. You can make this improvised standing desk. So you just put the chair on the table. And here is another tip. If you're having something like the bar or even the chair up on the table, or if you're having a standing desk, I recommend also to put one leg front, because by that you can have a pelvic levelating, like for back relaxation. And again, the main principle, straightening the spine, then release, and head is lined up with a torso. Okay, so I believe that's all with the ergonomy. If anyone have any question, just I can afterwards check the chat, or you just can ask anytime. Just unmute yourself if there's something that I didn't mention. And now let's go for how to take any of these that I just said to your day-to-day life. I really like the book Atomic Habits. I don't know if you know it, but this is actually something that we are using even if we are having a long-term like cooperation with the companies. We are helping also with building a habit. And I would just like you to think about what is the minimum that you can use and add to your day-to-day life. And rather than pairing in your new habit with a particular time and location, you pair it with a current habit. So the habit stacking formula is after I, which is some current habit, what you are doing, I will a new habit. And I already prepared some examples, because what usually all of us are having during our working day is for sure online meetings. And if you've got more of them, the more the better, because you can add some new habit, and that would be after I join the online meeting, I sit for 8 seconds in active sitting. Or it can be anything. It can be after all the time I will come and sit on the chair, I will try to straighten up my spine for at least 5 seconds, and then I'm going to relax and I'm going to work. Or if you're really like some of the movements that we were doing during the home office salutation, you can use some habit, like when I'm making tea, I'm stretching my thighs. Or after I finish the first task, I get up and I walk around the room. This is and designing your environment for success. Okay. So this is some examples that you can use. And actually, if I would say something more about the last one, after I finish the first task, I get up and walk around the room. I already told you the principle about the variation of your sitting, and about the standing up as often as possible. By this, and maybe some stimuli can help you. For example, we are using a 15 minutes alarm clock, and you're just, going to work, and you're working for some may work 15 minutes, for some may work 30 minutes, and you work, and after the stimul tell you that it's time to stand up, you just stand up. And it doesn't mean that you need to do like exercise 12 push-ups or anything like that. If you do, that's great, but it's enough if you just like walk around the room or go to get some fresh air or anything like that. And by this, you've already got some variation into your sitting routine. Or if the idea that some alarm would ring after the 15 minutes, I believe you've got some task during the day. And here's the another option that you just, you know, spreading the task in the smaller one, and you're going to say that after each one of them, as a reward, you will just stand up and do something. And sometimes I get a lot of question if this is not like, wow, I'm having a flow, and because of that, because of I need to stand up, I will just, it will just disappear. I will be without my flow. And this is actually not true. If you would think about that, you can still stay in the flow. The only thing that you're just gonna do is stand up and walk, and you just still can think about the things that you're thinking about. But even because you will do some movement, the body will change the position. Even the oxygen will get to your brain, and it should be, even afterwards when you sit and work again from the sitting, it should be even better. It should feel better. Okay, so this was also some tips from as a help to stand up from the chair as often as possible. And I actually got a really last slide. And this really last slide would be about, not this, but this. This is again from the book Atomic Habits, and it's just something that I will sum up the webinar to not underestimate the power of small things. As you can see here, if you will not change anything, you will be still, even in the year, better, not better, but the same. But if you would change at least something and do a little small thing, you will be 37% better in 100 days. My mouth was just playing. Okay, so doing nothing at all versus small, consistent effort. And for me, as I was starting with my story, for me, finding out like that it's really these small things that matters, that it really depends on the way I'm sitting, the way I'm standing, the way I'm walking, and what I'm actually doing in those 15 hours during the day play like 60%. Thanks to that, I can now be able to walk. So just think what it, this like small little things that have a compound effect can do for you. Okay, so we've got 1 minute, and in that 1 minute I would like to do some summary of what we just learned together. And we were starting by that what we do most of the day during the day shapes us. And then we found out that what we are doing mostly during the day is sitting. So if we don't want sitting to shapes us, then you can add small movements during the day, even for example, if it would be 1-2 minutes as a compensation for your sedentary lifestyle. Then you've got active way of sitting that you can add to your sitting routines. For example, just for 8 seconds during the day, but as often as possible. And also remember that nothing like a right sitting position, nothing like that exists, that the best sitting position is always the next one. And you've got also some tips how to add some new habits to your day-to-day life. And if we can all have together about the online meeting, maybe now your online meeting can always start it. All of you will straighten up your spine, wait for 8 seconds, and then you just you can work even during those 8 seconds, but you know what I mean. So this can be some of your new habit, and afterwards also some help how to set up your working environment so it harms your body as little as possible, and it's more like beneficial for you. And also how you can use some tools to help you to stand up as often as possible from, and like break the sitting. Okay, I can share you also, for example, contact, and I don't even know if my colleague, yeah, Paya already sent you a feedback form, and this was actually the first webinar that you've got, and you're gonna have 3 more. 1 would be with Paya, and 2 would be with Pavel, that's our another physiotherapist. So I hope that you like it and you're gonna join all of them if you find it useful. And if you have any question, you can just ask me right now if you want to, or I can share even a contact, and afterwards you can even write me. So it's anyone having any question?
Hey, I have a question. I like the chair you're sitting on. What is that? And do you recommend such chairs for everyday work?
Okay, thank you for a question, Lucia. This chair is actually called Nesteda. You can find them on nesteda.com. And I really like this chair because it's actually, they've got the same philosophy that the best sitting position is the next one. And this chair is really great that it allows you to change the sitting position. For example, I really like this sitting position. I'm really often working like this, that you're not sitting normally like that, but you can also have support from on the chest, or yeah, I believe you know what I mean. So it's nesteda.com. Paya already sent you a link if you want to check it out, and yeah, I really recommend that. For example, it's really big chair. On the video, it sometimes you cannot see that properly, but you can look that, for example, I can really easily do even this, and I have a lot of space, and I still have like my back support. So I recommend that. Especially if you're having an office job. Sometimes if I'm reading some documents or something, I'm going like this, so I don't have to sit all the time. Or like this, or you can squat on that. It's like really allowing you to do anything.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Okay, maybe I will stop recording.